Hello, everyone. Anything to anybody?
Hello.
Yeah, what I wanted to ask is, it's very strange. You know, I don't really watch as much YouTube videos as I did a couple years ago, and I thought it was helping with preparation. But what I know is that everybody starts talking about the same story. So before, everybody started talking about the banks failing. Some still are. And now the thing that I noticed, the topic making the rounds is COVID's returning, shutdowns are returning. And I wonder if everybody watches the same person and that person comes out with a topic and everybody's like, oh, okay, that's a great topic, I'm going to do it. Like, they have nothing to talk about, like, I don't know. I mean, the way I look at it is, what's the use in talking about that anymore? We already know that X percent of the population, 50%, is going to do exactly what the government tells them, so who cares? And I know this from experience, just like everybody who's watching this knows from experience. I posted a video when I was in Mexico, in Puebla. Beautiful town, Puebla. If you ever get to Mexico, it's very easy to get to. There's actually a tour bus. Goes from the Zocalo, the center of Mexico City, out to Puebla. It's like two and a half hour drive, depending who's driving, maybe 3 each way. And it's a day trip. But Puebla, there's a lot to see and do there. A lot of history there. A lot of history. That's where Cinco de Mayo comes from. Cinco de Mayo is, most people don't realize, but Mexico's been invaded several times by the Spanish, the French, and then the U.S. And so there's a lot of war and revolutions and craziness, and that's probably why the government is so crazy, messed up. But so Puebla. Hey, buddy, how you doing? He's a good dog. He doesn't sit there and get agitated, probably until you climb over the fence. So when I was in Puebla, and I've been to Puebla many times, and I like it. But the last time I was there was in 2021 when I took that video. And I had guys following me with cameras and video recorders. And I'm doing this off memory, but the way I recall it, and I mean there's Collectivo, taxi serving the Collectivo, because everybody out here is so poor that most of them don't have cars. So they share a taxi, put 8 people in it. But so the way I recall it is, I mean, I'm outside walking on the street, and I posted on my Instagram page a picture of the poster. Now, there was about a 3-month period where Mexico went batshit crazy over this BS. I mean, they went absolutely insane, like Nazi core. And this was one of the months, I believe. And because down in Oaxaca, I had the police following. It's police, but it looks like military. In the back of pickup trucks, they have guys with guns going around monitoring the area. You just gotta watch out here. Everybody's coming back from a day in town on Sunday, I guess. Today's Sunday afternoon. It's the 10th of September 2023, I believe. Yeah, see, that's the path that I've explored a couple times now. So, everybody wore a mask outside on the sidewalks walking around, except for me. Now, I'm not saying that as a badge of honor. just saying it because it's absurd that people are going to wear a mask outside. It's just, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand this. So, it's not a chemical attack. And if it was, those masks wouldn't help. You'd need a gas mask or something that would seal your face shut. My point is that people, instead of questioning these people, they just said, "Oh, what's the big deal? Just go along to get along." And this is the sign. This is how everything comes full cycle. These are people who have never had to fight for their freedom. These are people who have never known real tyranny and what it represents, because I think if you go to countries that actually, and there are countries today who are like that, and countries in the not too distant future that have changed over the last 20 to 50 years, and there are people who are alive who remember, who will tell you, this is tyranny. And that's what history, the history of mankind, this is what happens. Small group of people like to control the majority. So, I really don't give people a pass. Like, everybody's like, "Oh, well, they didn't know any better, but next time they'll know." Yeah, it will be the same. They won't care. Won't care. Hola, buenas tardes. This camera I can't see. It's so bright. One more point I just wanted to make. The reason I wanted to say this, because I just said it to some friends in Germany, and I posted this on Instagram as well. I don't know this man personally, so this is third-party information coming from a very reliable source, so I'm going to take their word for it. But last year, when this whole Russia-Ukraine thing started up and Nord Stream, and this guy in Germany was so upset that the way he decided to show his disdain for the government's actions was he hung a Russian flag on his own property. And the police came and took him away. And there's another guy, while I'm thinking about it, there's another guy, I think he was German, might have been Denmark, but I'm pretty sure it was Germany. At the beginning of COVID, he had this little homemade studio in his house, and he was raided and shot dead by the police. You don't hear about him either. This is why, same who's protesting Julian Assange being in a torture cage, But anyway, so this guy was taken away. They made up some charges. I don't know exactly what they are. They sound bad. And he's been in jail awaiting trial for 9 months. And he just had some sort of hearing. And I told them, I said, most of these governments, if it's 1 or 2 or 3 or 5, they'll try to isolate you and they'll pick you off one by one. You have to form a group. And I told them, I said, in Germany, you may not know this, in Germany, like if you own land outside the city, you can't build a house there. You can't live outside a city. The German law forces people to live within these very specific zones for housing. So you can't live out by yourself. So what you'll do is you'll drive, it's like oases. So you'll drive along this road at 50 miles an hour, through fields and beautiful area, and then you'll come up to a small little enclave. And some of these cities are huge. Hola, buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Cascadas están muy bonitas, ¿sí?
Sí.
Yeah. So I told him, I said, so these little towns, some towns are 500 people, some are 2,000, some are, small to large, to cities like Stuttgart, which are probably 100, 200,000, maybe more, maybe a million, because they squeeze them in it's like going to China where they squeeze in 100,000 on a block. But I told them, I said, you have to go to that court trial and you have to get the whole town. And even if you can get 50% of the town. Because they say they're outraged, they say they're shocked that this is Germany, which is supposed to be a free country. So everybody should take a sick day if it's during the week and go protest outside that courthouse and don't leave. And I'm not going to say it's impossible, but they're probably not going to try to lock up 500 people. And if you peacefully resist, it starts a message. It starts a message. These people will know that people mean business. Oh, but today's, I have to go, today's my grocery day, or today Dancing with Stars is on, I don't want to miss it, or whatever reason. And this is what happens. People don't have a true appreciation for freedom. Because we take it's like breathing, right? What's the big deal? There's plenty of oxygen. They can't take away all my oxygen. It's the same thing. Freedom, I'll be able to do anything I want. Hey, if I'm not doing anything wrong, I have nothing to fear. Right, that's a big one. So I really don't think about it. Hola. Oh, that's one of those little bikes there. So, but I've said in other videos, I'm ready. Not going to waste my time worrying about something that isn't worth worrying about yet. But, I truly believe the United States is like the 600-pound fat guy. If you've ever seen that TV show, I think it's a TV show, cable show, maybe cable. I doubt it's on regular TV, too shocking. I just had YouTube give me another whack in the hand because they felt one of my videos where I showed some blood and guts from surgeries. They considered it too offensive. But anyways, I don't want to digress. I don't even remember what I was saying now. Oh yeah, the 600-pound fat guy. So, how pretty it is out here. Yeah, no clouds. Just some cumulus clouds, that's it. But that TV show, 600-pound fat guy, it's I think they even have like my 6,000-pound family. Oh, look at that guy. No helmet, no controls. This is why, I've talked about this a million times. It's why so many people walk around with injuries. Especially on a Sunday. Sunday is when a lot of people get smashed drunk. You'll find, I still find it a little unnerving seeing people like looking like they were shot and drop where they, fell where they dropped and in contorted positions. I should have taken a photo, but last Sunday I saw a guy, and here they put the sidewalks sometimes up like 3 feet because of all the water in the street. And this guy, it wasn't 3 feet, this one, but it was a good foot, 18 inches, and he had his feet on the sidewalk, and he did a face plant perpendicular on the road. So he's hanging out on the road like a flag. And I'm thinking to myself, somebody comes along who had a drink, or somebody who's just not paying attention, and maybe the kids are acting up, runs right over the guy. Right, lucky dog? Oh, shut up. See, that's an idiot dog. Yeah. This is a street. And I'm now in Colonial Rodriguez. You shut up. For the future of our children. But okay, my point is, see, this is what happens. It's actually beautiful out here. Hi, lucky dog. It's kitty kitty. Hola. Buenas. Look at how pretty that is. You stupid camera, come on. Yeah, with coffee beans right next to it. Coffee beans. You're just going to be careful when you come out to these little towns. You are... See, I have an advantage because I don't look Mexican, but like if you're Mexican, you come out here and they don't know you, you get into trouble. Hola. Yeah, there we go. Bonjour. And yeah, so I came down here before, and there's actually really nice farmland down along the river down there. It's very nice. This was a church right here. Hola. Feliz Domingo. They're probably saying, what did he say? What did he say? Listen, my Spanish isn't that bad. I have it happen in China too, where I say something and people are looking at me like, like, but it is what it is. I can't control that. So anyways, my point is, I'm going to say the point this time. My point is, that showed 600-pound fat guy morphed into 2,000-pound families and 2-ton mamas and whatever it is. So there are probably hundreds of people who've been on that show, like Dancing with the Stars. And you don't look so friendly. And you're not too bright sitting in the road, but I don't think traffic's a problem here. But okay, my point. Out of all the people who have been on that show, how many people recovered? This is just a guess. Educated guess maybe, based on human nature. Because if you get that fat, I mean, right buddy? How many people allow themselves to get that big? I mean, I gained 20 pounds and I'm like freaking out. Right? You see what I'm saying? Right? See, buddy, you're a good dog. See, that's the way a dog should be. There we go, get a goose. Duck, duck, oh no, not a goose, what am I talking? Duck. Duck, duck, and a rooster. Are you brothers or cousins? Oh, you got married. Oh, felicidades. Be interested to see what the kids look like. But, see a cute little house here. Right. They have electricity here, man. That goes a long way. Because you can have a refrigerator. So, I mean, there's basically like 1-2 streets in this town. Alright, I'm going to go this way. Up into the coffee. It's for me, it's beautiful here. It's some people might be bored silly, but I'm not. You can see they're really starting to grow now. One thing I want to do is I've never seen a cacao. I'm going to ask this guy. Hola, disculpe. ¿Este árbol es cacao? No. Oh, ¿tiene árboles de cacao aquí?
No sé, tío. Dice que si hay árboles de cacao.
¿O solo café y banana?
Café y banana nomás.
Oh, no. Yo leo que árbol de cacao en Jico es muy grande, muchos.
Ajá. Pochi.
Oh, it's no.
¿Son los árboles de cacao, güey?
Vamos a ver.
También. Okay, muchas gracias.
¿De cacao? No, pero aquí no hay.
¿No?
No.
Oh, mi amigo dame una película and yo leo que en Jico tiene muchos árboles de cacao.
Cacao, no, por aquí.
No, yo solo amaro café y banana.
Sí, sí.
Un buen combinación. Okay, gracias. All right, feliz domingo. So, what was I saying? So, you know, it's a, obviously it's like people who, like I know people who have eating disorders, and I knew nothing about it. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional. You know, it's still unnerving when you're walking through the woods and you see these guys with machetes walking by. Yeah, right up there. Buenas tardes. Yeah, I was playing because I didn't want him to think I was filming him. You know, it's one thing how somebody reacts, but when somebody reacts like drunk with a machete, then you have a problem. It's the other thing, a lot of interesting birds out here, and I know nothing about birds. Although I did look up that blackbird, which was my favorite. It's a, now I don't remember the name of it. It's like a long-tailed grizzle or crackle. It's the bird I put in all my videos. I love the bird. It's such a, and it said online it's a very social bird, and it sure is. That bird is it's like he's a comedian. So anyways, so the 600, so I knew nothing about eating disorders, and then I had a friend who had a friend who, so I was like, you know, I grew up in a house where my father, you know, doing something wrong, he'd be like, snap out of it, right? And that's like Robitussin, right? That's my father's version of Robitussin, smack out of it. And that solved your problem. And it could lead to mental illness later, maybe, you know, when people, but It was such a different world when we were kids. But today you can call the cops. I don't want anybody to think my father beat me. Well, it's not like the movies. But anyways, mental illness. That's serious shit. Because when your chemicals get off, and that's why these people have these eating disorders. So these fat people, it's not just chemical, I mean it's mental, man. Who sits there and eats, 25 hamburgers or 3 bags of chips and, come on, it's just insane. Physically, I don't think most people could do it. It's like, you can, this is what I was concerned about, it's all mud. Like you could drink yourself to death just by drinking water, because it throws your electrolytes out of kilt. And we're an electrical machine. And if your electrolytes get off and the charges aren't firing the synapse, you die. Your heart stops beating, man. Body can't send signals. We're a very calibrated machine. And the foods we eat, I'll tell you, I'm sure everybody here, you have something really sweet or something really whatever, and my body will, it's almost like instant, like it's going into my veins. Within 5 minutes, I'm feeling it. So those people, my point is those people have a long way to go. You can't just say, okay, we're going to put you in this room and we're going to teach you how to cook broccoli and, have a pound of broccoli and not 5 pounds of hamburgers, I don't think it's that simple. Or just start moving more. So the point I'm making is, out of the dozens, hundreds of people who have been on that show, I'll bet you there are more people, finally gets to the point, I'll bet you there are more people who have died doing that show, or not on the show, but you're not watching people die, but they track these people. I'll bet you there have been more people who've died than have successfully returned to a normal weight, where you wouldn't look at them and be like, Mommy, look at the circus freak, which I never. Here we go. That reminds me, 1970. 70? I'm guessing 70, 71. So I was like a toddler, 2 years old. But I remember this very vividly. We used to go to this place in Hampton Beach. Rephrase that, Hampton. Different. Called the Ratscaler Pizza Joint. They're still around, I believe. And they had the best mushroom pizza. Now this is coming from a 2-year-old. But I remember it. They had the best mushroom pizza I've ever had in my life. Thin crust. Just delicious. And our family would go there because, there's 4 kids and, my mother didn't want to cook. Just back then, pizzas were cheap. And I'll never forget, I want to say it was Kmart. It was some sort of strip mall type thing across the street. And it was a major, major road. So pretty dangerous for kids. I'm going to have to look at the map here. Yeah, I'm going to sign off here, but let me just finish the story. So I saw this guy waddling, and I had never seen, now I'm a 2-year-old kid, I had never seen somebody that fat before. And there was a fat woman right next to him, not as big as he was. And this is not advised, but I'm just going to go to the end here. It wasn't posted, by the way. If it was posted, I wouldn't go. You know, Sunday, chances of somebody being here, 5% or less. And if they are, they're drunk and asleep in the woods here. But, some sort of shack there. And it's a long way from the river, because I can hear it in the distance. So I saw it and I was like, I'm pretty sure I probably pointed and like, Mommy, look at the fat guy. And my mother's, of course, you know, like most parents, they're going to be like, you can't say that. But, I mean, I remember that. It was 50 years ago. I remember that. Like it was, not yesterday, but I mean, it's a pretty vivid memory. You know, somebody lives here. I'm chopping up wood. Okay, time to go. See, this is the type of thing you can do in Mexico, you know, unlike Germany. You can find a piece of land on a river or on a lake and get away from it all. Get one of those VW buses or a SUV of some type or four-wheeler or ATV, and you can get into town that way. And if you're self-sufficient where you can grow stuff, it doesn't take a lot. And plus, if you form a community of people where, you know, you grow the cucumbers, I'll grow the tomato, and you start trading off, because, you know, when you have a garden, because my parents had a huge garden when we were children, and my parents would have so much food coming out of that garden. They'd be giving it away to, like, my father would bring it into his workers at work, and would be going around to our neighbors, giving care packages on the door. My mother would be canning this stuff. Both my parents, actually. My dad was into it too. Oh my God, it's all slippery mud. And I gotta check the map. I'm pretty sure this is the way. See, not very inviting. So you get a huge yield in a normal year. Yeah, they'd be like, what vegetables do you want tonight for dinner? Blah, blah, blah. Go pick them. So we'd learn how to recognize a good versus not yet ready, and, you know, skills that you didn't even know you were learning as a kid. So the reason I told the story about the fat person is that's the United States and other Western countries. None of them are going to make it. None of them. The governments are going to fall because it's mental illness. Yeah, mental illness. If people can't see that by now, then you're one of the mentally ill, and there's no use talking to you. Most people just like, nah, I don't want to know, and they just ignore it and live their lives. And one day there'll be Cammy Humvees coming down your street with the big 4-tracks and troop carriers, and you'll be under martial law. And that's when they'll start picking off people one by one. Anybody who resists. That's how they'll pick off, like, the people who use their emotions rather than sit around and plan. That's what I think's coming. Not saying tomorrow. Because just like this financial mess we're in, I didn't think it was going to last 20 years. But that's what criminals can, that's a Ponzi scheme, you know. They can prop it up. It keeps going until people say no. And Russia, China, the BRICS countries, they were never strong enough. After World War II, the United States was the only man standing. And it takes this long for these things to happen. I mean, in the course of history, 50, 100 years is nothing. So, but there's a chance, there's a very good chance I'll live to, if I live a normal life span, 80, 90 years, very likely I'll see it. I'll live it. The kids who come after me, they're definitely going to be in it. And that's why kids today, I think the smart ones and even not so smart ones, that's why they're having so much trouble, because they see that they're getting porked. You know, they're getting really porked. And they're like, what is this? You know, they can see they're getting screwed. So that's my roundabout way to saying that, and you know, you and me, when I say this, I don't mean this as harshly as it sounds, but we're nothing. We're not in power. We don't have, you know, the chances of you or me rising to influence, it's got to come from somebody where people can rally around. And that's why I was just talking to my friend Steve about this. You know, he just retired, and I said, hey, like he's like politically active and trying to get people charged up. And I said to him, I said, don't you think this is a waste of time or something to that effect? And he's like, yeah, I think so at this point. And it is, as I just described. All you can do is try to wake up those people you love. Your siblings, your friends, your family, you know, nieces, nephews, neighbors, people that you have that influence with, you know, who can rally around you. It's one reason why I'm in Mexico. I don't know if I've ever talked about this. Maybe I'll talk about that next time, why I'm in Mexico, why I ended up coming here. Yeah, see? Nice wall here. This stupid camera. Okay, I'm going to sign off here. Cheers. Peace. This is a long video. Look at how beautiful this is. Listen to all that noise. I think it's around 5 o'clock on Sunday. Comes a guy on a horse or a burro. I think it's a horse, but it kind of moves like a burro. Look at those mountains. Yeah, I'm already starting to plan my next move. And I'm talking to the friends that I've made around here for their input. And there have been a couple stories of people being found frozen in freezers, cut up. Not actually too far from here, like within 20 minutes of here. So it means if you run across the wrong people. Buenas tardes. I gotta get a cowboy hat, maybe. Yeah. Don't go in. I forget what I was going to say. Signing off. But, yeah. At least this has so far been fairly drained. I'll walk in the middle where the grass is to stay out of the mud. You can hear the water from the river. Live long and prosper.